I see my son is in chat. Hello. Oh God, am I distressed? Why do I look distressed? I am crying. Why am I crying? I swear to God, this always happens. And it's funny because I'm not hitting any of my hotkeys, but sometimes it just be like, why am I doing these things? Hello. Welcome in everybody. Welcome in to another Metaphysical Slay. Welcome. Yeah. How's it going? Hopefully y'all are doing well today and having a chill time. Nothing crazy. Um, yeah. How you doing, Lucy? Oh, shouldn't you be asleep? It's like super late for you, isn't it? Like 3 a.m. or something? No? What do you mean no? I refuse. Okay, I guess. Amber, welcome in. Hello, friends. Let me put a little music on. There we go. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been just like, do you ever just have those days where you just feel like you're slowly melting off of whatever surface you're on? And not because you're hot, but because you're just like exhausted. I feel like I've just been like slowly trying to become a part of my like chair or the couch or whatever today. But I'm doing well. I hope you guys are doing well. Anything exciting happened today? That's just me whenever my body refuses to sleep. I mean, fair. Fair. That's the thing, is like you'd think I hadn't slept. I slept. I'm just slowly dissolving. My bones, body, I don't even know. My being has decided that I must just like slowly melt. But yeah, we are here today. We are gathered here today. I know, the Cult of the Lamb stream was a couple days ago. I don't need to do my like sermon voice. Yeah, we are here today to just like do another metaphysical slay, you know, like just hang out, talk about stuff, and maybe do a couple tarot readings. Who knows? We'll see where the night takes us. Yeah. So, I thought it would be interesting, at the very least, to talk about like spirits and stuff like that, because I feel like I've gotten a lot of questions about that for whatever reason. Of like, you know, do you know anything about that and like stuff? So, yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. So if anybody has any spooky stories they want to share too, you're more than welcome to. I've got a couple myself, so I figured it'd be interesting at the very least. Something that we haven't really talked about very much. You might be able to hear me shuffling the cards. So, also if you have any questions, feel free to like give them a think. Yeah, I will say, no matter what you believe, whether you believe in spirits or you don't believe in spirits and like ghosts and stuff like that, it is generally just a good rule of thumb to like, if you ever come across something that you can't quite explain, just kind of take the approach of, I saw nothing, but I'm going to be respectful about it. Also, don't invite anything in. Take the stranger danger approach. Otherwise, you too will disappear the way my model just did. Still have not been able to figure out why it does that sometimes. For the life of me, cannot understand it. Hi, Chimsy. Welcome in. Welcome in. How are ya? But yeah, good rule of thumb when dealing with anything unexplained is just 1, don't give your name. 2, don't invite it in. And 3, you didn't see anything. But no, I've definitely had quite a few of the spooky encounters before, so take it from someone who knows what they're doing and who frequently works with the dead and spirits and stuff like that. Those are good rules of thumb to have. kind of tired. That's fair. Well, it's like super, like early in the morning for you, isn't it, Chimsy? It's like 3 a.m. or something. I've invited many things in according to friends, apparently mostly out of stubbornness. Amber! Amber, no! I mean, okay, to be fair, we've all invited at least 1 or 2 things in before in our lives, and a lot of the times we don't even recognize it, because it's like, oh, you know, I just, you know what, fine, like, come in then, or like something like that. But it's generally good to just be careful. Hey, thank you for the hydrate, Ignis. Welcome in. We're talking spooks today. Spookies. Also, I don't have water. I have spicy mango lemonade, and by spicy I mean literally spicy. It has jalapeno and cayenne in it. Literal spice. It tastes like drinking a salsa. It's wild, but it's actually really good. Hey, they called me that white girl that always... Yeah, that is white girl that dies in a horror movie moves right there. It absolutely is. But then again, I don't have very much room to talk, because, like, my, most memorable experiences with spirits have definitely been, white girl that would die in a horror movie type things. There's one in particular that I remember that, Iris still wants to kill me for to this day, and it's been a good, oh god, it's been like 6 years since this happened, I want to say. But she still wants to kill me for it. And I think I still have the recordings from it. Lucy, welcome back. The trick is that I don't believe in that idea, so I can die. Iris, I love that I just said that my most, like, memorable spirit experience was one that you want to kill me for, and you appear. What, Lucy? What'd you do? What'd you do? I get nervous whenever I get that. Nothing bad? Okay. Okay. What'd you do? I have mega upped PC. Nice! Your upgrades came in! Exciting! Yeah, I do still have to take care of that wound on my back. And before anybody worries, it's not a, like, physical wound. It's a spiritual wound. It's been almost a decade, yeah. But see, that would require me finding somebody else to do it, like, to take care of it for me, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. See, Lucy, you're better than me because I definitely could play Monster Hunter without the PNG. I just don't feel like it. Monster Hunter is a lot to keep track of, and keeping track of my model and, like, what's happening to it on top of Monster Hunter? Nah. Yeah. My expertise, that's a lie. No sense of direction. Well, okay, I don't have a sense of direction in that game either, but, like, to be fair, you do have to, like, keep track of, like, when you're dodging, when you're sharpening, when you're doing these things, you know? Like, that's what I mean. But yeah. Iris, I know. I really need to get that spiritual wound looked at. I meant IRL. Ah, I see. But yeah. No, please don't invite things in, friends. Also, if you see something coming towards you, don't be like me and just kind of, like, observe it. Just leave. Just leave. Although I suppose if, like, you can see it, then you're probably already in a little bit of trouble, because usually it takes a lot of energy for something like that to manifest. But yeah, I will say, oftentimes going with your gut is a good idea if something feels off. Just take a take a leave. How drastic was your up, Lucy? How drastic was it? Dun, 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 dun. A game I could barely run before I could have play on max setting. Nice! Very nice. Congratulations, Lucy. That's exciting. Ooh, very fun. That's always exciting. Yeah, the price is usually the issue, isn't it? Like, it's expensive getting upgrades. But I'm happy for you. That's super exciting. It's awesome. I can't wait to see, like, what it helps you do with your content and everything. That's going to be so exciting. Yeah, the price is most certainly the issue. The price is not right, usually. That was a bad joke. I acknowledge that was a very bad joke. Yeah, so... I don't know. I feel like I never really have a format for these. I'm always just like, let's just sit down and chat, and like, we'll get to topics as we get to them kind of things, you know? I'm trying to think. I could tell the story of why Iris wants to kill me. I'm also trying to think if there are any other like really. I did think about if there were any other really good ones, but now I'm like, I guess it's a good place to start. How many of you guys believe in like ghosts and spirits? Glowy-eyed man. The glowy-eyed man saga was also a fucking time. that was a saga. It was indeed your fault. It was. I had never in my life seen the Hat Man or Glowy-Eyed Man or anything aside from Jung Yuno from ATEEZ. Before living with you, Iris. And then we had to deal with a Glowy-Eyed Man for like multiple months. And when I say I had to have a stare down with this man at like 3 a.m. That was pre-Yuno awareness. Truly, he hadn't even debuted yet. And he was just hanging out. His cousin Greg was hanging out in our room. For those of you who don't know, Iris and I used to live together. We were roommates in college, and we had some spiritual adventures, if you will. Mainly because in college was when I was starting to learn a lot about like the witch stuff and like how to protect my energy and stuff. And I was just a like ball of energy of just like spiritual energy, and poor Iris living with me. Bringing home 80 different things at any given moment. Yeah. I still have the electronics issue. So, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but pretty much every, like, woman in my family is a witch. Or at the very least has a lot of spiritual sense. And we all have one, like, at least one form of technology that we break consistently. As a result, which is really funny and very weird at the same time. Like my grandmother on my mother's side, it was irons. My mother, it's cell phones, and for me, it's just general like electrical circuits, like the lights, usually. Oh god. So anytime I would get really like amped up or stressed out, or something was like following me around that week, the lights would just like start flickering for no reason, which was always really fun because we were always like, do we need to like call the landlord or something? And I'd be like, no, that's just me. But yeah, it's kind of amazing to think about sometimes how these like awakenings and things happen. It's also pretty normal to go through multiple. I went through multiple the Glowy-Eyed Man saga and the saga of the demon in my friend's apartment. Definitely were two two of those spiritual reawakenings, if you will, because Lord have mercy. Oh, I hit a button by accident. Oof. Alrighty. Well, while we are talking, if anybody in chat has a tarot question they want to ask, you are more than welcome to. But yeah, it's interesting sometimes, like sitting there and thinking about these things, because it's really easy to rationalize things that you don't know or don't know how to explain. Especially since memory can be so unreliable at times, but I find it's like very important to just trust your gut, you know? Like, if you feel like something happened or you saw something that like freaked you out, or something that you just like can't quite explain, then odds are something did happen. You probably did experience something. So, the story, I feel like I should start with Glowy-Eyed Man, because Glowy-Eyed Man is a little bit less, like, out there, in a way. So the story of Glowy-Eyed Man essentially goes that, Glowy-Eyed Man is some sort of variant of the Hat Man. For those of you who do not know what the Hat Man is, the Hat Man is typically regarded as a sleep paralysis demon. But for most people, also just generally some kind of like spirit of some sort. And spirit doesn't necessarily refer just to like human spirits, like ghosts. You can have non-human spirits, you know, depending on what you believe. Some people, you know, might think like water spirits, nature spirits are a thing. You know, you can have familiar spirits, animal spirits. There's also, you know, the darker spirits, depending on what you call them, like a trickster spirit or a demon or whatever you might call it. But yeah, the Glowy-Eyed Man, typically as Hat Man as well, is regarded as some sort of a like either trickster or in those like that darker category, because again, sleep paralysis demon. So poor Iris had been afflicted with Glowy-Eyed Man for a while. Mind you, I had prior to this never seen or encountered a version of Hat Man myself. Because surprisingly, I've never had sleep paralysis. How I've managed that in my many years of living, I don't know. But I've never had sleep paralysis, so. Hat Man ain't got beef with me. Well, he hadn't had beef with me at that point. Now he has beef with me, but still. So, what had happened was Iris had been having a lot of Glowy-Eyed Man problems, and her room was right next to mine, because we lived in an apartment with, I do math, 3 other roommates. There were 5 of us. And her room was right next to mine, and our beds kind of like shared a wall. And I got up one fateful morning, and when I say morning, it was ass crack of dawn. Actually, it wasn't even dawn yet. It was like fucking 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. And I got up to go pee. And on my way back to the bathroom, I was like, huh, that's odd. Because I, like, from the, like, corner of my bleary-eyed delirium, I just saw, like, what appeared to be some sort of a shadow moving kind of, like, in front of my door. And that wasn't too weird, because we also had a cat at that time who was like obsessed with sleeping on me. So in my head, because again, 3 a.m., I'm half asleep, I'm still thinking, oh, it's probably the cat or something, I don't fucking know. So I like stumble back into my room, get in my bed, and then I look diagonal from my my bed, and there's like, my bed was facing a corner of the room, right? And I look over there and there's just this man standing there. Like, black trench coat situation, no hat, but just these big ol' like billiard ball glowing eyes. And he's just standing there staring at me, just staring me down. And I'm like looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me. And it, like, my brain is like slowly trying to kick into awareness of like, am I dreaming? Am I not dreaming? What is going on here? Because, you know, sometimes you have those like super realistic dreams of like going to the bathroom, because like you have to go to the bathroom and your body's trying to tell you it has to go to the bathroom, but your brain's like, no, sleep is more important. Yes, real glamorous when I talk about that. Anyway, so it kicks into awareness that no, this is actual, like, I'm staring at a man in my room. And if it were not for the like billiard ball sized eyes that were very much glowing, like, imagine, I don't know if you've ever seen a cat in the middle of the night when you see them and their eyes like reflect. Oh god, that was entirely because I'm gesturing with my hands and it crossed in front of the camera. Anyway, yes, if you've seen a cat's eyes like reflect in the middle of the night, imagine that, but like the eyes are like the size of your fist. So like, my brain is like, clearly this is not, there is not just like a random man has not broken into this room, right? Because that was the other concern, because our building, like our apartment specifically, was right connected to like the roof of the building next door. So like if you had like opened the windows, you could like climb in and out. And my roommate, like the person that actually like slept in the same room as me, was still zonked out, and the corner of the room that the glowy-eyed man was standing in was like directly at the foot of her bed. So she definitely would have noticed, like, in order for a man to climb in there and be in that position, like, you would have woken up. You would have noticed something and woken up. So I'm sitting there looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I can't see anything else around him. Like, he's a very clear-cut figure, and like the desk behind him is completely obscured because of it. And I was like, okay, you know what? No, I'm not giving you the opportunity, because Iris had told me that every time she sees the glowy-eyed man, he would like try and do something. Very sleep paralysis demon-esque. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be stubborn about this, and I'm gonna stare at you until you leave, because I see you, motherfucker. And so we just sat there all night, staring at each other, until he finally left. And he just went poof and just left at one point. Which wasn't very eventful, except for the fact that the next morning, as soon as I heard Iris was awake, I like swung the door to my room, Iris, open, and I was like, Iris! What the fuck? And she's like sitting there like, what happened? What happened? Like, what is going on here? Why are you yelling? And I'm like, why was this man in my room? Why was he here? But I mean, overall, it was not like a very eventful, yeah, Iris was all oops tee-hee about it. Meanwhile, I'm over here like screaming. Siwawa, welcome in, Raiders. Gamer Ghoul Raid. Welcome in, my friends, welcome in. Welcome to spooky hour. Which is appropriate because Seela's a gamer ghoul who was also a specter. And we're talking about ghosties. Rah! But yes, we are talking about the spooks. We are talking about the ghosties, Siwawa. We are talking about my standoff with Glowy-Eyed Man. Before I tell the story about why Iris wants to kill me to this day. How was Cult of the Lamb? I was there for most of your stream, but I hope the Besties Club is thriving. I hope there is no dissent happening whatsoever. I hope everyone's fed. 3 people died and I had to beg a jail. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Glowy-Eyed Man didn't try to choke me back into unconsciousness because he was too much of a little punk bitch to make a move on me because I was staring his ass down. He probably was sitting there like, this bitch is crazy. I am so sorry, Iris. See, one thing I have learned is that the ghosts, I mean, there are certainly ones that are powerful enough to, like, do many things. Many things. And a lot of it does have to do, it's like the same principle as, like, when you're a kid, they tell you that, like, you know, certain, like, animals, for instance, or, like, bugs are more afraid of you than you are of it. Or, like, if you act more afraid of it, it's gonna interpret that as, like, aggression and, like, come after you. I feel like that is essentially the same principle when dealing with the ghosties oftentimes, because it's like, the more fear that you show, the more that it's going to have a reaction, especially if it's a negative creature, or ghosty, or whatever you want to call it. A spiwit, if you will. But yeah, no, that was, the Glowy-Eyed Man was certainly an experience. You know, I think especially, like, growing up in the South, you get very used to experiencing things you don't quite know how to explain, or seeing things that you're not quite sure what you saw. And so because of that, like, you get very used to having this, like, mindset of, I'm not gonna bother you, you're not gonna bother me. You know, like, I'm gonna respect your space and you don't pay rent here, so get the fuck out, kind of thing. Especially since most places in the South are haunted in some capacity, or even if they're not haunted, they have some kind of residual energy. And when I say residual energy, I mean, like, if you've ever walked into a room after an argument or after someone's received really bad news, like, you can feel it, right? Like, it's very palpable, that energy and that tension. And so even if there isn't, like, spirit residing there, or, you know, something really tragic having happened there, those, like, intense emotions leave impressions. They leave energetic impressions on the space that they occur in. And so, you know, you have a lot of that in the South because of its history. Me prattling on about stuff. Yeah. The South is very haunted. I am very interested if anybody else has had any, like, spirit no, we are not doing acoustic lo-fi butter. No, fuck you. I say fuck you. I don't actually mean fuck you. That's such a wild, like, it's so jarring, sorry. He was cursive singing butter because it's lo-fi, that's why. Yeah, so, like I said at the beginning of this, we are also going to do some tarot readings, or I can answer questions for anybody who wants it. It's kind of a For those of you who haven't attended a Metaphysical Slay before, it's a very open forum, so please feel free to ask questions or anything like that. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to tell the demon in the apartment story. Which I feel like sounds like it's a lot more dramatic than it was. But then again, Iris wanted to kill me. So I don't know. Man, light cigarette. You know that emoji or like the gif going around of the duck and the cigarette? That's Iris right now. Because that was an experience in which Iris was only like kind of tangentially there for, because Iris was not dumb enough to participate. Yeah. To like experience this. Because it was purely my lack of self-preservation while also being surrounded by a very excited white person that wanted to ghost hunt, and someone who was like actually scared of the demon in their apartment because there was something in there. But our friend in college lived alone and came over one day and was like, "Hey May, you know a lot about like spiritual stuff, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess I know some." And she was like, "Okay, because I swear there is something in my apartment and I don't know what to do about it because it's low-key beginning to scare me." Like at first I feel like we were cohabitating, but then like my mom came over with her dog and the dog didn't want to go anywhere near the apartment. Which, that's a bad sign, right? And I was like, yeah, that's not
Fuck
optimal.
your life!
Bing bang! Welcome in, Shoo Shoo. Speaking of Spiwits, and here comes Shoo. Welcome in, Shoo. I hope you're having a good day, night so far. We are talking about spirits and the ghosties and the spooks. Whatever you want to call them. Bing bang! Hi, Somaru. Welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. Hope you're doing well as well. But yeah, so she was like, can you like come and investigate it for me? Because I want to know if I need to be scared or not. And mind you, I truly should have sat there and just, in the words of Iris Prism, I should have sat there and just eaten my damn food and kept my mouth shut. Oh, Summer, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you'd been here. I'm sorry. Don't take it personally. Yeah, Iris was like, girl. But, you know, in my brain, I'm like, oh, you know, like, my friend needs assistance. And it's like, what's the worst that can happen, right? I'm not gonna, like, get possessed or anything. Spoiler alert. A bitch was dumb. Anyway. So, May. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, in my defense, I was significantly less cautious because it was my early 20s. I was like not even 21 at this point, if I remember correctly. I think I was like 20. Ah! My bad, camera. My bad. Yeah, I think I was 20 at that point. So like the yeah, I was like 20 or something like that. So like, you know, the possibility of severe consequences had not processed in this noggin yet. So Iris looks at me and is like, because it was me, Iris, our white friend at the time, and then homegirl that had the issue. So we were like, I mean, I'll go look. I can't guarantee I can do anything for you, but I'll go look. Um, and especially with me being a medium and like being able to see things um more easily than other people do. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, it's probably nothing, or like at worst, it's like something with like sleep paralysis, or like just one of the watchers. Like there are certain spirits, I don't know what they're classified as, but they're I think they're frequently referred to as like the watchers. And they're just like these little shadowy figures that just like watch people, like they're looking. But they're harmless. So we go up to her apartment. That's probably the same year I had to keep a friend from chasing a fucking wisp and approaching us at Mach speed. Yeah, that's real. That's real, Shit was awry in 2016. So we go up there, and we had this little, like, I still have the recordings from this. I have no way of playing this for you because they're on my phone, and I know the like quality is going to be garbage. But there was this app that essentially does what a spirit box does. And I had my little pendulum with me just in case. For some fucking reason, I didn't bring any sage because I was dumb. I don't know what I thought I was gonna do. But we go up there, and the friend whose apartment it is explaining to us, hey, like, so this is what's been happening. Basically at night, it feels like there's somebody else in the apartment with me. And it's like a very small apartment, and I know it's not that I'm hearing noises from like the other apartments. It's that it like literally feels like there is someone moving around in the apartment with me. And there's this specific point where I like go to walk into my room, and it feels like I'm like bumping into someone, or I'm like making myself move around this person as I'm like headed into my room, but there's nobody there. And there's like certain spots in my room where like when it's dark, it just I feel like my vision's like not like it's distorting, but like I have 20/20 vision, and it's weird. And again, in my brain, I'm thinking, oh, like it's fine, there's nothing going on here. Yeah, of course, I would love to know about that. So we go up there, we have the little app going. The white friend has their like headphones on, so that they can hear what's happening on the little spirit box thing. I cannot. However, in the recording, because again, there's a recording. Iris has listened to this recording. Iris was smart. And the second we got to the apartment, she was like, actually, I don't want to get possessed. Y'all have fun though, and dipped. Which I don't blame her. I really don't. That was the smart thing to do. But Iris can attest, Iris has heard the recordings. They do exist. I still have them, and I swear to God, if I could figure out a way to post them on the internet, I will. But I'm more religious back then, so I was scared. And that's valid. That's so valid. I should have had more fear. I did not have fear. I was dumb. So I can't hear what's happening in the spirit box thing. But you do hear there are 4 voices on that recording. There's me, there's the friend that whose apartment we were in, and then there's the friend who was listening to the audio and like actively reviewing it like while we were there with the headphones on. Remember, with the headphones on, so I can't hear anything that's being said. And then there's a fourth voice. And that fourth voice was very deep, very dark, and very distorted. And you can hear it very clearly in the recording. But like I said, I couldn't hear anything that was like being recorded. However, on the recording, you can hear me responding to that fourth voice. Isothui, welcome in, how are ya? First time chat, welcome in. We are talking about spiritual stuff and like the spirits and the spooks and stuff. Currently telling a story about one of my scarier encounters.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir?
So you can hear me very clearly, like I'll say something, I'll ask a question and be like, you know, why are you here? And it will say something. I think it was why are you here, or like what do you want, was one of the questions I had asked. And it responds and it was this like guttural sounding voice, and it's almost, the distortion made it sound almost like it was like echoing off of metal or something like that, but you very clearly in the recording hear it go like energy, right? And I was like, oh, you want energy? Like not even like a beat later in this recording. So clearly I was like hearing it, but I wasn't hearing it, you know? Like I knew what was going on, but I could not hear the recording. And that's how, no, this wasn't even the Hat Man. Glowy-eyed man was the Hat Man, and he and I just stared at each other. But so I love how this like upbeat music is playing while I'm explaining this. So we continue like that for a while, where it's just kind of like us asking questions and then like getting a response, and we can't hear the responses obviously because my one friend has headphones on. But we're essentially having a conversation with this fourth voice that shouldn't have been there. And my one friend, whose apartment it is, explains that like specifically there is some kind of like weird energy that's coming from like where her bathroom is. And I walk over to the door because the bathroom was closed, because she didn't like leaving the door open, because she felt like whenever she left the door open something was watching her. So I walk over the door, and again, all of this you can hear it on the recording. You hear me walk over the door, and we're talking next to the door, and you hear me say, oh, you want me to touch, okay, I'll go ahead and touch the door. I thought I was responding to one of my friends, because I swear to this day I heard one of the two of them say, hey, why don't you touch the door? However, you can't hear that on the recording. What says it on the recording is that fourth voice. So I touch the door and all hell breaks loose. I'm laughing about it, but it's not funny. So I touch the door. Because again, I thought it was one of my friends telling me to touch the door. So I was like, why am I touching this door? I touched this door. And it does feel weird. Like the energy around it just feels very weird, but it feels like the energy in the room went from like, because this was like her ensuite bathroom. So we were in her bedroom. The energy in the room literally went from like, okay, this is like a little spooky. Oh God. I'm like talking, I'm probably like fucking with the electronics right now. But like, okay, this is a little spooky to like, oh, we fucked up. Mainly because all of a sudden, like, the energy got super dark. And they were like, okay, we need to take a break. Like, I'm gonna go. And one of our other friends had showed up to, like, see what was going on because Iris was having a conniption over this. So they go. I feel like my house ghost is listening right now with his head in his hands. I know, right? I know. So they leave me in the bedroom to go and talk to the other friend, right? So they both leave. I'm sitting on the bed in complete darkness because, again, I'm a genius at this point. In complete and utter darkness, staring at the bathroom door. And at this point, I see it open. And it doesn't like open like it would like if like a gust of wind hit it. It just like opens a little bit, just enough so that I see, and I usually whenever I tell this story I actually like act it out to give you the visual, and since I can't do that I'm gonna have to explain it. So I see something that looks relatively humanoid but like very large, and it's a darker shape than anything else in the room. And remember, it is like really dark in this room. But I see it very clearly, and it is on all fours and just very slowly like moving across the floor towards me as I am sitting on the bed watching this happen. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is okay. All right, I am either hallucinating right now or something is definitely in here with me. As it's like creeping closer to me, and it's like keeping itself super flat to the floor, and like almost trying to move in a way that it thinks I won't notice him. Yeah, on all fours. Like, it wasn't like the proportions were not humanoid, but like the shape was humanoid, if that makes sense. Like its arms and legs were like very long. And so I hear the friends kind of coming back towards the room, and I make the extremely dumb mistake of looking away. So I look away from whatever this thing is crawling towards me, to see my friends coming towards me from the other room. And again, it's dark, but I see them coming up because they kind of have the light behind them, because one of the other rooms was lit up, like the living room was lit up, so like you could see a little bit of light coming from there. So I see both of them come towards me, and they just freeze, and they're like, May, oh my god. At the same time, I feel just this like presence right behind me. Thank you for the care package, Loppy. Welcome in. So yeah, I feel this presence like right behind me, and it feels heavy. Like, if you've ever had someone stand like way too close to you, it's that like hair on the back of your neck feeling. It's that like, oh god, what is about to happen kind of feeling. But it felt so much heavier, like someone had just like thrown a weighted blanket over me kind of situation. And the way they describe it is they see this big black mass just like wrapping itself around me from behind. And it was two of them, and they saw the same thing. And I'm sitting there like, oh, I fucked up. I fucked up bad. And in the process of this, I feel just like my energy starts to deplete. Like, I feel like I go from like feeling fine to like I am about to pass out. And I feel what feels like 4 like claws just like dig into my right shoulder. Just like hook itself in kind of situation. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get an ass beating for this one. I am absolutely gonna get an ass beating for this one. And I bet you did. I did. Trust me, I did. So they're like, oh my god, what is going on? What the fuck? What was that? Because again, they saw the exact same thing. and I felt it, and I saw it crawl across the floor. So all three of us are like, what the fuck? So then we go back, and there's 4 of us now sitting in the living room, essentially debriefing on what just happened. The one with the recording starts playing it back and is like, guys, like I was hearing this 4th voice the whole time, and May kept answering it. Like, she couldn't hear what I was hearing, but every time it said something, May would respond. Like they were having a conversation. And I'm sitting there like, still half dead. Still feeling like this thing is like wrapped around me. And like slowly suffocating me. And we're trying to figure out what to do, and we're like listening to the recording, and I'm like, I hear the point where I hear myself go like, oh, I'll touch the door. Like, I'll go ahead and touch the door, or whatever it was I said. And I realize on the recording that my friends are not the ones that said that. And I'm like, what do you mean it wasn't you guys? Because I could have sworn. So we're arguing back and forth about this, and I just start feeling worse. And at one point, one of them turns and looks at me and is like, holy shit, you look like you're about to pass out. And there's just this like searing pain in my right shoulder, like my shoulder blade, like along my back. And it's like, it feels like 4 distinct like scratch marks or like claw marks in my shoulder. And they're like, okay, like what do we do? Again, I was dumb. I didn't bring any like cleansing items because the girl was a dumbass. And so we're sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and at one point the girl whose apartment it was just like grabs my hand and is like, everybody, we're gonna like try and channel our energy into it and like try and see if we can like push it out of May or whatever. So we're all sitting there like holding hands like this is some kind of fucking kindergarten circle or something, and they're like doing their best, which I appreciate. It wasn't doing shit, but I appreciate it. The power of friendship, truly. And in the middle of it, I hear a 5th voice very, very quietly being like, ugh, just so fucking done with my shit. And then I feel 2 fingertips just like press into my forehead and just go bop. And whatever the thing was attached to my like shoulder lets go enough that like I feel my energy coming back to me. And at this point we're all like, get the fuck out of the apartment, like this is not happening. Hilariously, at the same time this is going on, Theo, several states away, who does not know this is going on, calls me yelling. Calls me yelling and is like, what did you do? What did you do? I don't know what you did, but you did something, because my eye has been twitching nonstop for the last hour and I know it's you. Soulmate things, you know? So that happens. And we're all just like, okay, maybe we're like all hallucinating. I don't know. We tell Iris. Iris is like, I want each of you to shower, to pray, to get the fuck out of this apartment. Like, I don't care what you gotta do. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I will find holy water. So we make a plan. The next morning, we're gonna go down to where the metaphysical shop is. We're gonna get some sage, and we're gonna sage the fuck out of myself and the other 3 who were there. The next morning, we do just that. So we walk down to where the metaphysical shop is, and it's like a 10-15 minute walk. And as we're walking, each of us notices that for whatever reason, everyone keeps moving away from me. Like, It's like they keep doing this weird double take of like, did I just see what I thought I saw? And also just like backing up. So we get to the metaphysical shop. We buy the sage and we just sage the ever-loving fuck out of me because that's apparently gonna work, right? In the process of this happening, the like scratch marks or like the talon marks or whatever, I don't know what the fuck to call them, on my shoulder are like on fire. Like I feel like I have a serious injury. There's like nothing physically there, but it feels like I have a physical injury there. And that just, I was just stuck with that and like some seriously like fucked up dreams for a very long time, like that entire semester. And then eventually it like, as I like learned to take care of myself and like block off my energy and stuff like that, like, and like get in touch with the spirit guides and whatnot, I was able to like put enough of a barrier between me and it that I stopped having these like extremely violent dreams of me being like murdered and like gutted open and like used as a skin suit type thing. Right? Like these were, when I say like, yeah, they were violent, like, and like disturbing, I literally mean like I was in therapy having to talk about these things because it was like, why am I having dreams of like being ripped apart violently? You know? And like I could feel it. That was the weird part, was that like I could like physically feel it. Like I would wake up like checking myself over for injuries kind of thing. So yeah, moral of the story, don't fuck around and find out. If you ever have the thought that you might have something present lurking in your house or someone's house or whatever, don't do what I did. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Like Iris mentioned when we started talking about this story, like I still have the wound. It's still there. Like I have gone through physical therapy specifically for that shoulder a good like 3 times since then. And only some of it is due to my like chronic illness, but a lot of it is like, this should not be happening. And it's all along that wound mark. So yeah, don't be dumb. Don't be dumb, kids. Don't be dumb. And if you are dumb, have a friend like Iris that will tell you that, girl, don't be dumb. I'm very glad I managed to I am very glad that I managed to finish the story before the ad break kicked in. I was worried about it. Great times. Yeah, no, it was yeah, don't be like me, kids. Don't be like me. It was a fucking time, let me tell you. It was a fucking time. And then we had the glowy-eyed man incidents like right after that because Iris was currently dealing with the glowy-eyed man. So in the midst of me having these like insane dreams, like I just stared down the fucking hat man. Yeah. So yeah. Sometimes the spiritual life makes the decision for you. And by that I mean oftentimes it does. I love that Shu spent this entire story being like, May, oh my fucking god. And you know, that's the correct reaction to this story, because it is May, oh my fucking god, how are you this fucking dumb? Truly. Truly. And she was right. And she was right for it. So were you, Iris. Iris, like, you know, in retrospect, I really should have listened to Iris. Oh, it was funny though, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's funny now. It's not funny, but it's funny. Like, it's funny telling this story because the entire time I'm like, why was I so stupid? Because, like, again, common sense would tell you, like, maybe don't. Maybe don't do any of these things. But, you know, I was dumb. How am I the rational one in these situations? Listen. In my defense, again, like, I can see and hear things. So, in my, like, making that distinction sometimes is difficult. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, welcome back. Since we are now back, I do want to go ahead and read what Somaru wrote, because it was like a chunk. Alright, let me say something about my old house. I frequently saw shadow people a lot. Then we had electronics go bad all the time. Hot spots and cold spots in my bedroom in the basement. Smell of brimstone. Hearing my mother call for me through headphones, but she was never calling for me. Spirit orbs, a firm, gentle hand on my shoulder, and worse one yet, was seeing transparent legs in an early 1900s dress go by. Oh my. Oh my. That is pretty intense. My house I grew up in definitely had some stuff going on, so I can relate. You know, there are some experiences you have having like a haunted house that you just like, at some point you just like get so used to it that you're just like, ah yeah, that's the house ghost. Like, you guys hear me talk about my house ghost all the time. I'm not in the home I grew up in, so it's a different set of house ghosts than it was in the one I grew up in. This one tries to be helpful. It tries so hard to be helpful. It's actually really sweet, because it will like try and help me find things in the kitchen, except it doesn't really know how to like regulate its power, so it'll like try and point something out to me. Like, I'll be looking for the ginger, right, and I'll have looked everywhere for the fucking ginger, can't find it. The next thing I know, the ginger is being lobbed at my head. Like, it's trying, but that's not. That house was always tense. We were always at each other's throats, but the moment we move out, my folks and I are just super sweet and casual, no tenseness. Yeah. Yeah, that for sure. It was some kind of like negative presence or even just like energy spot, if that's the case, because yeah, that can definitely happen. For a lot of like spirits and things, they're depending on the strength of it and depending on the strength of the emotions around it, like they can influence a lot of things, and like cause arguments and stuff like that. Speaking of my parents and this stuff, the women in my family have a tendency to stick around after they die. And there was one time my mom and I were arguing, and it was like one of those like playful, stupid arguments, you know? I was visiting from college, and she quite literally would not stop poking me. Like, literally would not stop poking me. And I was trying to get her to stop, and we were having one of those playful arguments, and all of a sudden she just gets smacked upside the head by her grandmother. She stops and she like grabs the back of her head and is like, what? Okay, I guess I have to stop. Nana said I have to stop. For perspective, that house is like 100 years old and half the town is burned at one point. Oh wow. Yeah, no, there's definitely something going on there. That's a lot of energy for that. Yeah, I get it. There's a reason why a lot of like historical like places have these attachments and like things that just like show up there, and it's purely because it's like the depth and the intensity of the emotions behind it cause it to be a draw, and it's a place of like power in that way. Yeah, Nana really did say pipe your ass down. She said leave the child alone. I mean, I use that as an example that, like, you know, and that, and like my house ghost that like hides my birth control and like lobs spices at my head sometimes. Like, it's not all bad. Like, it doesn't, you know, some of them are. But that's true for anything, right? Like, some things are negative, inherently negative, and some are, you know, just trying to be helpful or like trying to figure out how to interact with people, places, and things. Being near water tends to attract a lot of activity too. Yep, absolutely it does. So water, fun fact, water is a conduit of energy, and it is a conduit specifically for spirits. A lot of mythology revolves around the idea of like water ushering in like life and death. So like you think about the river Styx, you have to cross the river Styx to get to the underworld. You think about like Viking burials where you're put on a pyre, but like if you were commander of a ship or anything like that, you're like floated out to sea, that kind of thing. And that holds true. Also, fun fact, here's a life advice, life tidbit, if you will, from May Mori about spirits. If you ever want to cause some shit in the lives of your enemies, tell a water spirit the drama. They are messy. They are so messy. And I say that lovingly. Because if you tell a water spirit the tea, they will make sure that there's some vengeance enacted. Alternatively, that they will further the conversation on the tea. I've lived really close to a river. I've lived really close to a river for a couple months, and I literally feel the difference between there and where I moved more inland now. Exactly. Yeah, truly, water spirits are indeed the find out part of the equation. They are happy to be the find out part of the equation. They are looking for a reason to be a find out part of the equation. But yeah, it always pays, like when you're near water and like big bodies of water especially, it's always a good idea to just like keep track of yourself and how you're feeling, because it can be, because a lot of them are like really heavy in terms of energy output and spirits and stuff like that. Like, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself and give yourself time to breathe, to make sure that you're still feeling like yourself, because oftentimes what will happen, Iris can attest to this as well, oftentimes what will happen is if you are in a place that has a lot of water and a lot of spiritual energy or like intense emotion, is that you can find yourself becoming overcome with it. Usually what ends up happening is that people will like kind of just like randomly burst into tears. People will just randomly burst into tears, or like all of a sudden be like really angry or really happy for no reason. So just always make sure you're keeping an eye on yourself when you're around those situations. But like I said at the beginning of this stream, like if you are in a situation where there is a spirit, odds are you won't be able to tell what type of spirit it is right off the bat. Not without a medium there, and even then, depending on the type of spirit, you might not be able to tell. So just make sure that you are never giving anything your name. Never let anything in. Don't give it permission to do anything. Like, no. None of that. And just have some, like, careful respect for whatever might be lurking. Because you never know. Sometimes it could be something that is, bad. It could be something that is just like curious about you. Or it could be something like a visiting ancestor or friend or someone close to you. So just be careful. That is the advice in that. Also, if you do have a friend, this is me speaking from personal experience, if you do have a friend that can see or hear or experience things on that plane of existence, for the love of God, do not let them do something dumb the way I did. Also, for the love of God, do not take them to a nursing home, because then they will look crazy. And again, speaking from personal experience, I have definitely had conversations with the recently deceased in a nursing home, and it makes the staff wonder if you're okay. That was a tough one to try and weasel my way out of. But it does really, I don't know. I always find it interesting how, and this is a little bit of a tangent, admittedly. It is a little bit of a tangent, but I do always find it interesting how, me suddenly realizing while nursing homes, besides the obvious, make me sick. Yeah, Shu, that's why. That is why. I feel like every time I do a metaphysical slay, Shu comes to another realization, and that is really funny to me. I'm so sorry, Shu. I was meant to be your spiritual awakening, apparently. That was my purpose here, was to be Shu's spiritual awakening. I'm just a newbie, leave me be. Listen, that is part of why I wanted to do these, like, types of streams and stuff like that. And obviously I don't do them too often. Like, I do them once a month, so it's not, like, the majority of my content or anything, but, like, I feel like there's stuff that, I mean, there's certainly a lot of things that I didn't know going into this. As someone who just naturally has these experiences, so if I can open up the dialogue, then maybe I can keep people from making some of the same mistakes I did. The folly of man. The folly of May is, be born with spiritual sense and never use it. Oh, thank you for the follow, Sirius. Oh, hey, welcome. How you doing? You made it. Welcome in, welcome in. We are just chatting about spirit. No, don't worry about it. I am happy to have you here. There is no such thing as being late. It's just whenever you make it. And I'm happy to have you here. Alrighty, well, to close us out, if anybody wants any tarot readings, you may ask a question. And I will do my best to deliver the tarot for you. I have the Fuck Your Life deck present, as well as a few others. I never want to fuck with spirit. Thought about it and decided, nah, I don't want that shit following me around. Yeah, I have to tell that to a few of my friends on a frequent basis. One of my friends works in a building that is most certainly haunted. And I keep having to tell him to stop being a white man about it, because he'll just sit there in the room that is quote unquote the most haunted and be like, oh, I'm gonna yell at the ghosts. And I'm like, why are you like this? Something's gonna follow you home. The way I know. Yep. Shu knows who it is. Sure thing, Sirius. Sure thing. Where will I be this time next year? Let's find out. Oh god, there I go again. Listen, I have told him multiple times, and he's only now, like, just started to listen to me because he's had a few experiences that have freaked him out. Goddamn horror movie references. Listen, okay? You know, it's always the white man that's like, oh, something went bump in the night? Let's go see what it is. No! let's yell at it like, oh, you know, you want to mess with me? Like, fuck you. Like, no. No. Alright. I don't know. I don't know why they're like this. Shoot. But see, I can't even, based on the story I told, I can't even, like, make fun of you, technically, for these things. But at the same time, yeah. Loading the 9mm and hiding. I do not think a Glock is gonna do anything against a ghost. I really don't. Alright, serious. Let's see. The 3 card here. Ooh, the Knight of Cups. The Page of Cups in reverse. And the 2 of Cups. Oh, wow! Straight cups! That's fun. Okay, so this time next year, and of course with tarot in general, it's always a take it with a grain of salt kind of situation in terms of like take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but also be aware that it is possibilities, you know, like things change, but based on the trajectory you're on right now, you have the Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups in reverse, and the 2 of Cups. So the Knight of Cups typically has to do a lot with kind of having that understanding of what your emotions are like and like moving forward accordingly in terms of like your goals and your perseverance. There is something about the Knight of Cups that is a lot more grounded than the Page. The Page is typically a representation of being a little bit more naive or a little bit more idealistic about how you engage with those emotions. So the fact that it's in reverse and the Knight is present is saying that there's going to be a little bit of a transition in the way that you interact with yourself, the world, the general sense of introspection and your emotions. The 2 of Cups, however, does give us a little sense into the direction it goes in. So specifically, the 2 of Cups has to do a lot with partnership. And now this partnership does not have to be romantic, but it does speak to a very deep bond that you are forming or will form with someone in particular. And to be honest, it could, based on this, it could even be with yourself. So because you are having a deeper understanding and have kind of like let go of some of the more surface level thoughts of how you interact with your emotions and the things that you're feeling, and as a result use them in the decisions that you're making, you are going to find yourself forming a very stable and supportive partnership in some capacity. Something that allows you to feel like your burdens have been lifted, but also that you can support somebody else. The Catholics were good at something. It's true. They were indeed. They were indeed good at things. And by that I mean exorcisms. Yep, general reading from the Fuck Your Life deck. I got you. I got you. Oh, one thing I neglected to mention about my encounter with the apartment demon, the Fuck Your Life deck was the deck that I had at the time because it was my first deck. And when I tell you this deck read me for filth for my stupidity. It was like, girl, look what you done did. Oh, that's wonderful, Sirius. That's wonderful. I'm glad it resonates. Yeah, everything in my life was tired of my shit. Even Theo from states away, who was like, girl, what did you do? I know it was you. What did you do? It has. I mean, the Fuck Your Life deck has been with me for almost 10 years at this point, so it's been very empowered by a lot of things. Alright, let's see. What does Shushu have in store? Do, 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 do. Let's see, let's see. Ooh. Okay, that fell out. That doesn't want to go in, so that's a good one. Shu, it seems to be trying to decide what kind of advice to give you. It's really funny sometimes shuffling these things because it's like, sometimes it'll be like, oh, I know exactly what message I'm trying to communicate, and it'll just like give me all of the cards right off the bat. And then sometimes it'll be like, no, I gotta ponder this for a minute and give them to me one by one, but like, it's trying to be very selective. Like, they'll come from like the middle of the deck. Let's see. Yeah, you're being complicated, Shu. How could you? How could you do this? It's because your house ghost was laughing at me earlier. That's why. Alright, let's see what we got. What you want. Oh, the Fool in reverse. Okay. So, the Fool, typically, upright, has to do a lot with like opportunities and the fact that you are someone who is capable of many things. You are someone who can wear many hats, has many different interests, has many different passions, and that those will all open doors to you in some capacity. The Fool is no one and someone at the same time. They are able to be anything that they want to be. The fact that it is reversed is very interesting, especially in the fact that like this is the what you want position. Is you're kind of sitting there and you're like, I want everything to slow the fuck down. I want you to slow down. I've been doing too much. I want things to chill the fuck down, and for me to have a minute to think. What you need is the Two of Swords. So you have been holding on to something, some form of like responsibility, maybe? I want to say it's responsibility. Something along those lines where you just feel like you've been stuck and you've kind of reached an impasse in some capacity. I'm so sorry, Shu. You did say the fuck your life deck. This is the fuck your life deck. It's what it does. Like, and so since you're at this impasse, it's like, yes, you could have these things where it's like you need it to slow the fuck down, but you also need to make a decision. You need to decide if the path without compromise is the one that you want to walk. Interesting. What you fear is the Magician. So much like the Fool, the Magician has a lot to do with the idea that you can do many things. However, the Magician also has this feeling of separation from the community around it. Specifically, the idea that because you have these talents and these skills that you're not quite reaching the heights that you could, that anything you do might be a little bit more of a flash in the pan kind of thing, like oh, I did it well this time, but that's not guaranteed to continue. And that's kind of been something that you've been struggling with to a certain extent, and it's something that is not going to change necessarily with the path that you're on, but it is something that you could lean into if you let yourself draw from your creativity a little bit more, if you let yourself kind of like experience that side a little bit more with more confidence. Okay, what's working for you is the Knight in Pentacles in reverse. You are very grounded about these things. Like you don't have this very lofty sense of like what you can and cannot accomplish. You're not out of touch with what your limitations are, but at the same time you are aware of your skill and your capability, and as a result you are making goals that are attainable. However, what's working against you? Six of Cups. You are not leaning into the support system that you have. You're trying to do everything yourself, and as a result you feel like you don't have a community around you. And that is kind of further driving you down that sense of like, I just need everything to slow down. I need people to stop asking things from me. I need it all to calm down. Outcome, the Devil in reverse. So the Devil typically warns us about our patterns, right? Like about the things that we do that aren't good for us, that we continue to do anyway because they're easier, they feel good, our vices in that way. Yeah, basically. The long and short of it is, stop being a fucking Aquarius all the time. Alright, so Maru, you are next. See, it may have read you for filth a little bit, Shu, but it wasn't that mean. It wasn't mean about it, necessarily. It was just a little, harsh? No. Blunt? Blunt. That's a good word. Blunt. Stern. Yeah, stern's a good word, too. Yeah. That is one thing the Fuck Your Life deck tends to do, is match energies. Okay. You have things to say to Somaru. Okay. Jesus. You have a lot of things to say to Somaru. Okay. Two? Two. Okay. Alright, Somaru. It is your turn. Alrighty. Let's see what we got. Uh-oh. First things first, what you want. So you are feeling the Knight of Swords right now. The Knight of Swords specifically has a lot to do with, like, inner turmoil. You feel like you can kind of see this storm on the horizon, and you're like, I just want it to be here already. I want to go through whatever it is I have to go through in order to get past what I am at right now. I want to just get it over with, essentially. Interesting. What you need, death in reverse. So death does not symbolize death. Do not worry, you're not dying anytime soon, necessarily. Death represents change and rebirth. It represents more ego death than anything else. So you making the conscious decision to throw away the parts of yourself that you feel like need to mature or evolve or grow, and taking those steps. The fact that it's in reverse does indicate here that you are kind of actively in this process right now. So you are doing what you need to do. You are... Oh, well, shit. I'm sorry. That was an awkward laugh, not an actual laugh. I am so sorry. Based on this, then it might end up being a blessing in disguise, in a way. But I am sorry to hear that. What you're afraid of? Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands, very much has to do with the idea that, like, you have been feeling like you're in, like, some kind of a competition, like think like a dog-eat-dog situation, where you have not had the opportunity to really, like, push yourself. and like stand up for what you believe in. And that is something that has kind of been a source of fear for you, like not really knowing what it is that you believe in because you're going through these changes, not really knowing what you should be taking a stand on because you're going through these changes. Three of Wands, what's working for you is Three of Wands. So you are at the beginning of a new journey. I mean, hey, hopefully that new journey is a new job. But it does say that you are kind of at the beginning of a new journey. You are at the point where you have had to make some decisions and experience some aspects of this journey that have been complicated, but you can kind of see the rest of the road ahead of you. You're no longer moving blindly. You're not traveling blindly. You are seeing the path that is in front of you and laid out for you, and recognizing, okay, I need to go this way, even though it's a long way ahead. What's working against you is the Nine of Wands. You want it to be over, and you want a traveling companion. You want to feel like you are kind of headed towards the end, like it's rapidly approaching, instead of recognizing that you're still relatively towards the beginning of this journey. And so that's kind of working against you. Like you're wanting to rush this process, even though it's not something that can be rushed. So what's working? Oh, interesting. Okay, so it gave me two outcome cards. Usually what happens in those circumstances, how I usually interpret that, is that you have two big possibilities kind of coming forward. On the one hand, you have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So on the one hand, you could, based on the path that you're going, you could have an experience that leads you to set goals that are very realistic, very grounded in reality, but might be a little bit too consuming for you, and might kind of put you back in that state that you were in previously of being too focused on certain aspects of your life. On the other hand, you have the Six of Cups. So on the other hand, you could also experience finding a community and a group of people that you are meant to be around in some capacity, and being able to learn and experience and understand and receive support and reassurance from those people. So it sounds like you have quite a bit coming towards you all at once, but it's not inherently good or bad. It's very neutral in the fact that you're kind of on this journey, and there's probably going to be many stops along this journey. But it sounds like you're doing what you need to do. I also hope that you have a great interview on Friday. This is not the cards, this is just me. I do hope that the interview goes well. This is uncanny. No worries. I'm gonna choose to interpret that means that it's like it resonates really well. I'm sorry. I always get a little nervous when it's like, oh shit, like this is like really accurate, because like I don't know. I'm just reading what the cards say. All right, we have time for one or two more. If anybody has a question they want to ask for a reading. I just work here. Yeah, that's me. Truly though, people will ask me questions sometimes because they'll be like, how do you do it? Like, you know, how do you get to be accurate with these things? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just work here. I just read what the cards tell me. I just be looking at them and it's like, oh, it says that this, that, and the other. And then I tell you this, that, and the other. And it Which is funny, because it's, again, if you ask Iris, because Iris has been there since the beginning to witness this. Like, literally since I opened the deck. It's kind of always been like that. But yeah, we have time for probably 1 or 2 more if anybody else wants to get a reading. You most certainly can have one. To be fair, the 2 of my choices related to it's also job related, so the cards can be really on point about their careers. Yeah, it happens. I have noticed whenever I do like tarot readings on stream, everyone seems to have like similar things that they're thinking about, which makes sense. I mean, your career, your love life, your like where am I going in life questions are like things that are usually on our minds, so it makes sense. Is this the fucking... It's the butter again! No. How many versions of butter are on this? You know what? It's fine. This one's fine. There's no, like, acoustic singing. There's no acoustic singing to the, fucking cursive singing to this one, so... Listen, as a hoe that loves butter, I get it. Yeah, listen. It happens. But yes, if anybody wants another reading, let me know. You can ask a question. It's totally fine. It also does not have to be with the Fuck Your Life deck. If you're a little afraid of the aggressiveness of the Fuck Your Life deck, I do have other decks here with me that I can use. It's totally fine, I promise. But yeah. I hope you guys have had a very chill... Oh, the Fuck Your Life deck was pretty mild to me. Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. Like, you know, it had some moments of like, yeah, you gotta... I mean, the Fuck Your Life deck is called that for a reason, right? Like, it's always very to the point. Like, it doesn't beat around the bush at all. Whereas my other decks will... I feel like all of my decks have personalities, and I feel like I say this a lot, but it's true. You know, the Fuck Your Life deck is like, it's like a crotchety old man that's gonna tell you how it is and like what to do, and you either take it or you leave it. It doesn't have time to like experience. Whereas, you know, one of my other decks, the Bone Tarot deck, which is the one I use for my Ko-fi tarot readings, that one is very verbose. It explains a lot. And then I have one, which I think is the Modern Witch deck, that is very like, it tries to be as nice as possible. Alright, Shu, what you got? You will be our last reading for tonight. Ooh. Sorry for the gremlin. I dropped a bunch of cards. Thankfully only on my desk. But I still dropped a bunch of cards. I would like to ask whichever dex wants to answer more, what are some dangers I need to look out for currently? Well, I still have the Fuck Your Life deck in my hands. So, you get Fuck Your Life deck. That's also, I feel like the Fuck Your Life deck is usually best suited for these kinds of things, because it's very much like, oh, I will tell you exactly what you gotta look out for here. And when I say exactly, it's like as accurate as cards can get, you know? Ooh, okay. This is interesting. Let's see, what else we got? Is it just the 2? No, it's not just the 2. Okay. All right, Shushu, the things you have to look out for. Ooh, interesting. Okay, okay. So what we got first is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands, like all of the knights, has a lot to do with like confidence to a certain extent, but like confidence in progression. You know, like feeling like you are moving along in some capacity. So in this case, the Knight of Wands is very much like full of passion and like, yeah, I think very like fiery energy in this case, of very like full of passion, very like full of determination. Like you are very much like wanting to experience change towards a goal, right? And I am assuming that since this is the want, the rest of the cards are probably like a little bit more along the lines of like, this is the want, this is the thing you need to be careful, otherwise this is the, and this is the outcome kind of situation. Because the next one is Temperance in reverse. So Temperance has, very similar to Judgment, has to deal a lot with balance and the sense of finding balance within ourselves and knowing what we need to move forward with, when to work, when to rest, when to like balance out your logic and your emotions. And the fact that it's in reverse does indicate that this is, especially coupled with the Knight of Wands, to me it's kind of indicating that that is something that you are struggling with and probably need to be looking out for. The fact that you are not finding balance in some capacity. Learn how to fucking relax. Yeah, it's that, but it's also like learn how to talk and relate to people in your circle or like that are around you to help take some of that load, which is definitely okay. So I'm not gonna lie, this next one, I'm not entire, there are two different ways to interpret it. I will give you both, and we will see which one ends up being the correct one. So it's the King of Wands, going with the theme here of how you kind of like need to learn to relax a little bit and find balance and be careful. It could be recognizing that you yourself are someone who is very charismatic and very personable, and also inherently very confident in oneself in terms of like, you can be very snap judgment and feel relatively certain in that snap judgment. And so that could cause you potential issues down the line as well, because you're kind of so out of balance of like this aspect of temperance. That could be causing potential issues. The other way to interpret it is the King of Wands as a person. The quote-unquote face cards of the like minor arcana can sometimes be read as individuals, as people coming into our lives, and in that case it would say to be warned of someone who is very charming, almost like irresistibly charming, very charismatic, very passionate, someone that can kind of like match your energy, but also like moves with a certain amount of authority, and like he's like trying to inspire people around you to a certain path. So it's one or the other. Based on the information given to me, I cannot tell you which one it is, but it does seem to be one or the other. Generally, I would advise being cautious of men either way. Because inherently, anybody that comes into your life that is like, I am great, you should follow me, I would be cautious of. But that's just me. Yeah. I disappeared again. I'm convinced the like camera flashes where it just like disappears, it's like because I've like released too much energy or some shit. Oh, sorry, I was waving my hand at the camera. Honestly, it could be either because there's family visiting from far away for a wedding soon, but the first one could also be a possibility. Yeah. Could go either way. Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, recovering people, please. Yeah, I could do it too. Like I said, I just work here. I just interpret the cards. But, you know, in general, you release some energy there. Sheesh. Yeah, it happens. It happens. No, like I said, all of the women in my family have like one thing that tends to react the most to our like energy, and for me it's electronics. And the fact that like my camera, for instance, my camera has a built-in ring light around it, and the ring light doesn't fluctuate, but the idea is that because there's a built-in ring light, it will kind of pick up your movement and everything a little bit better. My camera will just cause me to disappear. Which the funny thing is if I was to stand up and walk off with the camera still on and the model still on, the model wouldn't disappear. So why is the model disappearing? Anyway, that's besides the point. That's not relevant to anything, May. Jesus. Alright, my loves. Well, we are at the end of our spiritual slay hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the fuck it is. I can't watch this because the battery only lasts a week. Yeah, Shu, you get it. You get it. You understand my struggle. Like, I have literally had it where Papa Mori sometimes will, like, walk into a room when I'm, like, really anxious and go to turn on the light, and it'll turn on for a second and then turn off, and he'll just look at me and be like, calm down. But yes, hour and 50, yes. All right, my loves, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really love doing these with you. I know it's like a very different vibe to my usual like gaming streams and stuff like that, but I don't know, I like the opportunity to just sit down and chat and like do what I can to kind of help advise in situations, but also just talk about the spiritual stuff, because like I said, I don't want anybody making the mistakes I did. But also just like having a space to chat about these things. So I really appreciate it, and I really love that there is a part of my audience that really enjoys that. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share this part of myself with you guys. All right, I am gonna find us somebody to raid. For those of you who usually watch my daytime streams, tomorrow, actually this is relevant for tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow is Mama Mori's birthday, so I will not be streaming. That being said, I'm not sure if I'm streaming on Friday night or not. I don't know if she wants to do something that Friday as well as tomorrow, so that's why there's a TBD on my schedule. If she doesn't want to do something, then we might stream. I don't know what, but we might. If she does, then that's tonight. It's our last stream for the weekend. Wait, no, I lied. I have D&D on Sunday. You would think I have my schedule memorized. I don't. Sunday night we have D&D. We have the return of Descent into Madness. Yeah. My players are in for a time. Haha. And that is where we're gonna leave it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go find us somebody to pass the love on to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very closely approaching our follower goal too, which is super exciting. I will definitely see you guys on Sunday. I might see you on Friday. Have a lovely rest of your week. Have a great one. Bye bye.